Hello. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Making sure. So it looks like last time Restream had a problem connecting with the Facebook page. It looks like that has been resolved. I believe we're going out on Facebook. Let me just double check. Hello, Scarlett. Hello, Zap. Are we on Facebook? We are. So this is probably a good time. I don't know if anybody's actually watching on Facebook, but this is probably a good time to say, despite the fact that we are currently going out on the Facebook page, we're probably not going to be going out on Facebook in the future. Hello, Jamie. Thank you for coming by. And you're on Twitch right now. Okay. Um, yeah. So here's the thing. It's all good. Anyway, hi. Good morning. I'm having some more coffee. Hmm. So this year, those of you who've listened to the newly launched podcast, pixelsandpuppets.com, I should have a lower third for that. I should just have a button I can press and it'll come up. I'll work on that for next time. I probably will forget. Um, Jojo Puppet Studio, hello. I just watched a video you did for your Wembley Fraggle build. Not only is it looking great, you are a fantastic performer, and your Wembley voice, oh, perfection, my friend. Oh, good to know. The podcast is exactly the right length for Jamie's commute to and from work. 2 hours. Wow, that's not a great. You got to remember how long it's been since I commuted anywhere. It seems like a lot. Getting distracted already. So, in the interest of cutting down some expenses that seem unnecessary, I think maybe one or two people will watch on Facebook, and even those, like I know Travis will occasionally watch on Facebook. If you see this, Travis, um, in order to broadcast to the Facebook page, and not to my own personal account, but to the Facebook, the Operation Puppet Facebook page, I have to pay for a Restream subscription, and that's $190 a year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's enough that I kind of go, the only thing that we're getting out of that is broadcast to the Facebook page now that Twitter is history. So I'm gonna not renew, and that's gonna go dark early February. So this is among the final. We'll broadcast to Facebook right up until the point, and I'll put a reminder in every stream until it goes dark on Facebook that we're just go to either Twitch or YouTube. And going forward, the stream is just going to be on Twitch and YouTube because the free tier will get us that. So, yeah, we're building puppets, of course, doing some work. Those of you who are on the socials will have seen that I'm building some smalls this week, and so we are continuing with the small today. There's yesterday's small is back there with Kermit, and we're going to do one today, and we're going to do a furry one. I've done a couple of furry smalls, and I like them a lot. They're real fun. They have a very different vibe to the fleece one. So, but I'm actually not in a hurry today, as you can tell. I'm a little bit more relaxed. I'm trying to remember to just bring it down and take a breath. When I listened to the podcast, I gotta say, I wasn't as hyper and manic sounding, like in my head as it sounds like I was. I mean, yeah, there was some bourbon involved, but that's not what bourbon does to me. I sounded way more frantic and shouty on the podcast than I really kind of intended to, and I think it was just the adrenaline of finally getting it off the ground and getting it all rolling. We were all pretty hyped, but I was just like I think Scarlett said it that I was kind of in like YouTuber mode, right? So it's like, no, I don't want. I'm selling this as the like comfort listening chill podcast, so I should not be as shouty. So I'm going to try to remember. We're chill. We're bringing it down. We're just hanging out, having some fun, building some puppets and stuff. So that's trying to remember that. So of course I'm drinking a caffeinated beverage. But I missed music. Well, that's another thing. When Facebook goes dark for the streams, the music can come back. So that's a good thing. It's going to be, Creative Commons licensed music and everything. It's just going to be the same old build stream music that I had before. Hype screaming interactive puppet building. Well, that's just it. Like I think it was, the problem was I started the podcast shouting that we're back, and it just kind of set the tone for the rest of it. And I don't want that tone. I want a much calmer tone. Frankie isn't going to sing anymore. Frankie will say. So here's another thing that we're kind of tossing around, and when I say we, I mean me. Is that like it's a year of getting stuff organized. I'm sorry, I have to actually pay attention to my notifications. No, Siri, I'm not telling you to do something. Because I'm expecting a delivery, and that delivery I actually kind of hope will happen during the stream, because it will be fun to unbox it on stream if it does show up. Anyway, the Frankie streams. I'm not saying it's not going to happen again, but it's unlikely. It's not a high priority, because of all of the things that Operation Puppet does. The Frankie play streams get by far the fewest numbers. And it is a situation where I just have to put the time in where we're going to get more people. So I don't know when the Frankie Play streams will be back. They're fun though, and that's the other thing. It's just fun for us to do. So I think that's just it. When we feel like doing it, we'll do it, and not worry about the numbers. But it's not going to be like a regular thing. Just noticed the one. So that's the small I made yesterday, and as you correctly observe, all the smalls are based on the early Dawn Celine Muppet era stuff, and that's one of the things I wanted to do with the smalls, was have a very, very simple design. Get him in focus here. Hello. But it does have that very kind of Don Celine, that Wilkins and Watkins era vibe, and that was something I intentionally did. But these are new. These eyes, these are EVA foam spheres. I've talked about these before, from Stacy Gordon of Puppet Pie makes these. These are fantastic, and these are just cut in half. But I ordered a bunch, and I ordered some of the wrong size, so they were way smaller than I wanted, because they're normally like 40 millimeter ping pong ball size. I just clicked on the wrong thing and ordered the wrong size, and I ordered the size down, which were like 25 millimeters. These are quite small, but it turns out they work out really well for small eyeballs. So there we go. So this is the small I made yesterday, and we're gonna do another one today. I've already got some stuff set up to go, so we're just gonna dive in. I think gonna have a bit more coffee and then get some gum going. Oh, hope you all are having a decent week. Just checking that things are still good. It's so weird being in here with the dead air with this no. Whenever I'm building, I'm always playing music. Most of the time I'm singing loudly to it as well. So it feels very odd to me to be in here when there's no other audio playing. Hum to yourself. Okay, let's just get right to it. To the top down camera, looks good. I'm gonna get some gum, excuse me. Just so you can listen to the ASMR of me chewing. And he drops the first piece. That tiny dancer stuck in my head. Which I won't sing for you. So here's what we're doing with the new small. We've already got the internals built. So it's going to be this sort of lilac colored fur that I think is really fun. And the arms are going to be this sort of light blue, very pastel kind of thing. There are definitely worse songs you have stuck in your head. It is a nice color. I can't remember. I've done a bunch of songs in this. I did a long time ago. I think I had a Live Hands Monster commission that I did in this, and that's why I had so much of it. So this is actually kind of the last of it. I've only got this much left, so it's going to end up being a song or two. And that's it. So I have to place some of the fruit order at some point, although I still got a bunch to use up, so we'll see. But anyway, just gotta get this on the machine. So we're gonna start with the arms. Now the thing about sewing fur, particularly when you're doing it on the machine, you've got this nice seam allowances, you really don't have to worry about the color of the thread because you're never gonna see the thread. So I'm just gonna do it with the blue for the arms, and hopefully that way we won't have to change out the thread. I'm gonna be standing up again, I apologize. Go down to the Tyrell Corporation, put it on the machine, exactly. So let's get a blue that's gonna work here. That's not bad. I have a lighter one, let's see if this one's better. Yeah, that one's better. I apologize for standing up and not having a follow cam. It's gonna happen. I don't know, we might put the follow cam. Oh, a new subscriber. Hi, Gen X. Hello, Gen X. I also am Gen X. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Just in time for some machine sewing. Let me get the machine in here. Actually, radium thread. Yeah. We'll go to the shoulder cam, I guess, as being probably the most useful for this. I do have the close-up cam is actually working now. Let's see. Maybe we should do this. What is this going to look? Let me check the preview here. If I do this, all right, if we go here, you can really see all of my mistakes then and how bad this is going to go. Maybe it's educational, right? There we go. We'll do the close-up for this. I'll try not to move the camera around too much, although let me pull it back a bit just to... It's the top down in the upper corner. I should change that to be the shoulder cam. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I can't do that live. It's got to be set up in the software, so. We will get some thread here. I think I've already got... Yes. Already got a bobbin. How convenient. Sorry, I bumped the camera. I'm sorry. I really hate shaky cam, so that's why I'm always apologizing when I create a shaky cam. So on YouTube and came to add additional follow. Thank you. Much appreciated. You get to see how sloppy my machine sewing is. This is a great introduction to the puppet building stream. And get this all up and going here. Get the bifocals working. Blue Jean Baby. Yeah, this will be the copyright takedown right here. Is me singing Tiny Dancer. Finally, some recognition. Okay, I think we are ready. I gotta get the garbage out a little bit more accessible here. I've got it buried. All right, so we're going to start with the hands because they are the most irritating. So one interesting thing about this, let me go to the top cam, maybe? It's kind of hard to see, I apologize. One of the weird supply chain issues that is currently, yes, hold me closer, Tony Danza, thank you, somebody had to say it. One of the weird supply chain issues that I'm currently facing is the 25mm dull joints that I use for the small arms are actually kind of hard to find. So I've got a bunch of 35mm, so what I'm gonna have to do is like flare the top of the arm out just so I can put a 35 millimeter dull joint in there. So it's going to look a little odd, but because this is going into fur, I don't think it will matter. So I guess we'll see. Yeah, Jojo, it's I'm still a real brute force kind of. I got no finesse with this thing at all, as you're about to see. But it really, I mean, just because of how my whole production model works, of doing them, you know, fast and easy, as it were. I spend all my time in the design and prototyping stage, and then I can bake them pretty quick. It's absolutely necessary, and it's not necessarily the best tool, particularly for stuff like this. These would look much easier to blend the seam if I were to sew these by hand, but because, you know, I'm trying to get 3 or 4 done per week for the shop, I can't spend that time, right? So that would be like hours of work, and whereas this is just like bang like that. So it's a trade-off. But yeah, sewing machines are super, super useful. And of course, when you're going around a really tight curve like this, I'm not sure this camera is the best for this. You're not really seeing much. I know, we'll figure it out. You're seeing my hand really close up, that's what you're seeing. For going around a really tight curve like this, you really can't lean on the pedal. You really just have to crank it by hand. Otherwise, you just lose all definition. Thankfully, it's only a few stitches, so you're usually okay. That's already in there. It's so far in there. It's literally the last song I listened to before I turned the music off, so that explains that. The pedal on this machine has got a real hair trigger. It's either like too slow or too fast. It is extreme hand close up. Let me see if I can maybe pull this back a bit. What I need to do is raise it up a little bit, but unfortunately I can't with the tripod that it's on. Live camera editing. Whoa. Easy there. Whoa. The machine wants to go. It's one of those. Koya, hello. Nice to see you. He shouts over the machine. Yeah, all y'all, I'm doing well. Go check out JoJo Puppet Studio in the chat. Go check out their channel if you are not already subscribed. They've got some really fun stuff going on. And if you want to hear a bang-on Wembley Fraggle, you're in for a treat. Yes, it has been a while. Is this your first one since, gosh, I don't know. I mean, obviously the new year. It's only the second one in the new year, so. It has been, as the kids say, a minute. Oh no, hospitals are not good. I hope you're doing all right. Always try and push it, getting around the thumb, and never can quite do it. The important thing is that you're here now, Koya. Yeah, there is definitely a learning curve to the sewing machine, but once you get it, it does become quite second nature. Yeah, easy method, sew the thumb, yes. My standard of measurement is, can I do it when I'm sleep deprived, because I sleep so poorly that I often have to, and so far it's been okay. Here we go. So yeah, we'll deal with these in a sec. You can see, get on the top cab here. So there we are. We've got it. So we just traced around the outline, and then we'll cut these out in a moment. But I want to get the seams of the fur sewn up here. Your eyesight is dying, but it'll be fine. Well, that's good. It sounds like you've been having a time. I certainly hope it gets better. So the first thing I'm going to do when I sew, you know what? I think maybe the, oh gosh, the right camera angle for this is a challenge, because this is no good. Maybe this is the better one. You know what I should do? I should do this, and then I should put the close-up cam in the picture-on-picture. I'll work on that for next time. What I do when I'm sewing up on the machine and I'm doing the mouth is I do the mouth part first, and then I back up and do the other part, because you want to make sure that this isn't sliding around a lot. You want this all nice and aligned, and all thick fabrics will move around on a machine. So just to make sure that we get it all nicely aligned. And even that moved around a little bit, but it's not so much that it's going to matter. So now that I've got the kind of nose bit locked in there, as it were, then I'll go and do it from the other side. Indies Keep, hello. You're not that late. You're pretty, 24 minutes. Not bad. Nice to see you. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Always a pleasure. Then again, I don't know anybody named Kate. Oh, there. Steady on. I think the machine's had more coffee than I have. Oh, God, stop it. Stop singing Elton John. We're going to get DCMA takedowns, because I can sing so well that definitely it will trigger a bot. Oop, something's not right here. Hang on. Readjust this here, because it's squishing. There we go. The machine did choose violets today, you're right. All righty. There's one big seam. And now for the other big seam. Let me make sure. Yeah, I might need to, again, I know you can't see this, but up in here, things got a little weird. The fabric got squished and went off the rails a little bit. I think it'll be okay, but we'll see once we trim it up. May have to hand stitch that a bit. We'll see. And now we do exactly the same thing on the bottom. First locking the mouth in place. But I mean, you know, Jojo, you can see how quick this is, right? It's like, this ain't nothing. Fortunately, you can't use it for everything. Like when I'm doing a live hands in fur, that's all you got to hand sew every single one of them fingers. There's no option to do it on a machine. $14 people, nice. We're the most popular thing on the internet right now. Look, I know it's a sickness. All content creators have to worry about their numbers. I hate the fact that I do, but I have to. But the numbers are good, so I'm pleased. Thank you. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, everyone. All of those marketing things I'm really bad at. Just imagine I said all of the things that YouTubers say and then do them. Maybe not all of the things. Only the nice things. The hardest part about learning about Linux right now is trying to avoid Linus Tech Tips. Speaking of bad YouTubers. I hate that guy. If I could get all my friends to watch this, I would. Get all your friends to listen to the new podcast, pixelsandpuppets.com. I'm bad at marketing. That's why I have Gus. See, Gus makes the machine go too fast. Literally and metaphorically. Could I use a non-heavy duty machine for fur? Yes, I did for the first year or two of my work. You do have to be careful. Make sure you get a strong needle. The needle is more important than the power of the machine for just fur. I got a heavy duty machine because I have to go through leather to make internal grips. And that you don't want to try and use a regular machine for, but fur should be fine. So one of the things I do for the darts here is if I'm doing darts in fleece, I always hand sew them just because I'm not precise enough on the machine to make a nice clean dart. But for fur is so mushy and imprecise that I'll do darts on the machine, no problem. So we're gonna clip these up and then we're gonna do the darts on the machine as well. Do the opposite of marking. If we don't have the initiative to find the podcast ourselves, and we don't deserve the podcast, that's intriguing. We'll call that, you know, like the user has to do some work. We'll open source it. You have to compile the podcast yourself. Here are the raw files. You have to mix it yourself. It's less work for me. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just clipping the darts together. On marketing. Yeah. So that sounds like a book that Malcolm Gladwell would write. Welcome to my clever new idea on marketing. Give me all of your money. Just imagine what Kevin Talking About Puppets would sound like. You don't need to imagine it. You can just tune in here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Got to do all marketing things in Gus voice. Yeah, it's an imagination podcast. You're right. It's like a guided meditation. Well, you said you wanted it to be chill, right? Yeah, so here we go. We're just going to do the darts now, and then we are done with the machine. Oh, no, we're not done with the machine. I got to do the fingers on the hands yet. Hang on. Hang on. Just don't get too excited. This is a silent sound file. Yeah, was it John Cage, 2 minutes 33 or something like that? It's the famous track that was just nothing but silence. He's got a reference for everything, this guy. Four minutes 33, thank you. The only reason I know about that is because they mention it frequently on No Such Thing as a Fish. Okay, so we got that. We're gonna have to trim up the seam allowances, but that's done. So now what I'm gonna do, we can actually move this out of the way for a moment and use the slightly less irritating camera. I don't think I ever did the YouTube Shorts thing. I don't remember. Did I do a YouTube Shorts? Anybody? Do you remember? I don't think I ever did. I might try that. As a format, I'm not sure. I am in an awkward place wherein I don't do super long videos, but I also don't do super short videos. I need some time to get the jokes set up, you know. So we'll see. We'll see. It's not a bad idea. I mean, it's a platform I'm already on, unlike TikTok, so really dislike the manipulative. I mean, I don't like the manipulativeness of YouTube either, but there's some point at which you got to go and look, you got to deal with it. It's a matter of sort of figuring out your own limits, right? Like, I mean, I'm on Facebook. I don't want to be on Facebook, but I kind of got to be just for the business. You could say the same for Twitter, but that was me just taking a stand, going, "Oh, I can't with this anymore." Not that Facebook's any better. Yeah, so I did do TikTok for a while. I actually closed the account. It just got too much. Not too much, but just like the TikTokness of it. I wasn't getting engagement at all. Like I was, I had followers and stuff, but there was, the views were not worth. Again, it's one of those like, what's the return on investment, right? Where are the eyeballs? Where do they want to be? What do they want? And TikTok didn't want me. And that's okay, because it was one of those, I don't want you either, TikTok. Yeah, this is how I do most of my arms, even like the bigger, like the greeblies and stuff. It's a pretty common technique. Um, it's not the best because it's almost impossible to hide the seams. It's really better if you hand sew everything and then do the arm and the hand as a separate piece. But that just, for my production pipeline, doesn't, the time that you need to do that doesn't work out. Oh, I clipped a little too close to the thumb here. I hope it's going to be okay. We'll see. So now we just turn it inside out and a little pen to help with that. TikTok does have a weird algorithm. It's not the worst thing. Like, it's a matter of getting on to something that isn't horrible. But it costs, like, the algorithm, all algorithmically determined social media, as it were. I mean, I'm aligning algorithms. Algorithms are just bits of math. Like, that's not it. It's how those algorithms are used. And in social media, those algorithms are generally used poorly and toxically, and they always trend towards something horrible and toxic. And you have to fight against that. And I'm just tired of fighting against it. Like, I don't need that. Nobody needs that. And that's one of the interesting things that stuff like decentralized networks like Mastodon and, ActivityPub and all the stuff that it's connected to is intriguing because there is no algorithmically determined content. It's just the people. But we do talk about that on Pixels and Puppets, the new Operation Puppet podcast, pixelsandpuppets.com. I really need to make a lower third. Trying to segue, I'm trying. Make people watch stuff even if they don't like it. And that's it. It's not just a matter of getting people to watch stuff even if they don't like it. It's the addiction loop, right? It's trying to get people outraged or grossed out or just have some kind of strong emotional reaction to this thing so they'll keep watching. And why do we want them to keep watching? So we can feed them ads and gather their data. That's the entirety of it. Yay, capitalism. And I want to participate. You can't not participate in that and be online, but I'm trying to choose where I participate in it and where my lines are, Here I thought algorithms was just former Vice President Gore playing the drums. My dad joke for the day. Very good. We amongst the puppet building people and those who watch the puppet building people appreciate a good dad joke. I think it's safe to say if there was ever any Muppet style humor, it's the Christmas cracker style of humor. It's not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to make you go, oh, come on. So anyway, this is how I do the fingers for the smalls. I literally turn them right side out and then do a line up and down the middle, and that kind of gives the impression of there being fingers. It's an old stuffed toy technique. In case you were wondering what the heck I was doing. Because I'm talking about algorithms and not puppet building, because that's what you're here for. My favorite small hand is the ghost one. Yeah, that's actually even easier than this because there's no fingers. It's just a pointy shape. And there we go. Now we're done with the machine. So soon it's going to be Zepp's favorite segment, Kevin hand sewing. Hooray. But first, we got to trim up some seam allowances. Where are we at? 11:41. We're only getting started. We may actually have to. I'm trying to avoid doing anything wherein I have to close the door and put on the mask. Never cared who I was till I put on the mask. Because I am waiting for a rather important delivery, and I want to make sure I can hear it when it comes in. So we'll see. I'm gonna go slow with the hand sewing, and maybe we can do like the dull joints and stuff for the arms without having to worry about gluing stuff with the barge. So I'm gonna trim up the seam allowances here. I know this is off camera. I'm sorry. I gotta move the camera so it's slightly off the table so then I can hold stuff to me and still you can see it. This is the point at which it got a little weird just past the crown of the head here, so we'll have to check that before we glue it in. May have to throw some hand stitches in there. This is the problem with thick fabric in general, both fur and fleece, is they tend to move around on the machine. You can get a walking foot. It's called a walking foot, which helps hold the fabrics in place. Unfortunately, and I have one, I can even show it to you. Maybe I can't, maybe it's buried. Oh no, here we go. So this is a walking foot. This is a thing that you could attach. You could take the regular foot off of the machine, you could attach this, and I don't know if you can see, it's got this little like claw here, and that reaches down and grabs the fabric from the top, because the way the machine usually works is there's little claws on the bottom that grab it and then pull the fabric through. This adds a second pair of claws that grab it from the top, and so it keeps the fabric from shifting around. The problem is that, at least on this machine, I can't get the foot to rise high enough. I can't get the two thicknesses of fur underneath the walking foot. So it's effectively useless. That was disappointing to find out. But can't seem to find black ultra suede anywhere, really. I haven't tried in a while because I usually buy fairly large amounts of it. I buy a couple of yards of it at a time, so I only ever use it for mouth plates. So I've still got a bunch, but I usually go to Fabric Empire is where I usually get stuff like that. If you haven't heard the interesting news, speaking of fabric suppliers, go listen to Pixels and Puppets, pixelsandpuppets.com, the official Operation Puppet podcast, in which we reveal the breaking news that Puppet Pelts is up for sale. Puppet Pelts, the Lori and Cindy, the mother and daughter team who run it, Cindy is retiring. And Lori is going to go on to do other things, and they are looking to sell. So if you want, I can't even remember where they are. I think they're in like Michigan or something. If you're looking to buy a business, somebody who isn't the Hobby Lobby, please buy them and continue their good work. But yes, in terms of black ultra suede, I usually get mine from fabricempire.com. I don't think it's called ultra suede. I think it's called something else. It's in the upholstery fabrics section, if I remember correctly, although I could be wrong about that. Okay, we have trimmed up the seam allowances enough, and I am now covered in fur, as is the custom. Let me just check this seam before we go any further. I want to make sure that this seam isn't going to bust open when we put this on the body. Ooh, it's not great. I don't think it would open, but you can see the thread. I'm going to put some hand stitches in that just to buy some insurance. Yeah, it'll hold, but it's not going to look that nice. I'm gonna hand stitch that a little bit. It happens. Sometimes it happens. I'm sorry. I know I'm right in the way of the camera. I had to grab some thread. I'll buy for $40 billion and charge $8 a month to buy from me. That's called, yes, it's the Twitter model. What could possibly go wrong? So yeah, since we're hand sewing, we're just gonna switch to the chat cam. Could it be micro suede? I think that sounds right. I think that's it, yeah. You know what? I mean, I'm actually trying to stall for time and we're not in a hurry, so let me look that up because I can just log into my account and tell you. Exciting live logging in. Fabric Empire. My account. Oh, come on. My login did not get transferred over to Firefox. I switched from Chrome to Firefox a little while ago, and do I still have Chrome installed? Uh-oh. I should. There it is. Let's see. Hold me closer, tiny dancer. Fabric Empire, here we go. There we go. Logging in. Order history. When was the last time I bought Ultra Suede? Nope, that's the tracking number. We don't want that. Here we go, order number. Faux fur, faux fur, faux fur, faux fur. No Ultra Suede in that one. Faux fur. I bought a lot of fur. Well, I mostly buy fur from Fabric Empire, so that makes sense. I must have bought a lot last time I bought some because... Oh, there we go. Nope, sorry, that's... Why did I buy spandex? No comment. Oh, you know what? I think I was going to make sleeves out of it or something. Like puppet sleeves. And it didn't end up being so good. Fleece, fleece, fur. I can't believe it. I cannot find... Give me a break already. Here's the... I found the receipt for the fur we're currently using. All right, let me see if I can find it somewhere else here. This is exciting live stream action. It's unclear. Suede fabrics, that might be it. Yes, this is it. Yeah, so like it's like you were saying, micro suede. This is the stuff. Yes. Lots of colors. Yep, this is it. So yes, micro suede is definitely it. Micro, ultra. It means the same thing. It just means that it is a very, very small weave. Now I really want to find... No, forget it. We got hand sewing to do. We can't keep Zep waiting. Anyway, yes, micro or ultra suede. Micro suede in Fabric Empire is ultra suede. Glad we got that sorted, kind of. All it took was a subtle bludgeoning over the head. Coffee and gum together at last. Coffee gum would actually be pretty good. So the first thing I'm going to do is, before we get on to our micro suede, which I'm going to use for the mouth plate. I'm going to throw some hand stitching in that one slightly dodgy area where the machine got misaligned, just to buy some insurance that when I when I glue this to the foam and turn it, it's not going to pop open. That would not be good. Okay. I really wish we had music. Soon. Trademark. So this doesn't need to be fancy or anything. This is just making sure the structure will be fine. It structurally will be fine. I was making sure it looks nice too. I saw a Tom Waits video piece that I hadn't seen ever before. I don't know why I missed it, but on his current record label, whose name I can't remember, so this is all completely pointless because I can't link to it. He did for his last album, which was called Bad As Me. He did this thing, they did this like promotional video where it was like a private Tom Waits listening party, and it's Tom sitting in like a room with this stereo, and it was like presented like it was going to be, oh, here's a sneak peek of the album. And it was hilarious because during it he gets a phone call and he's like, what do you mean this is going out over the internet? That's terrible. I don't want that. This is supposed to be a private party. This is just for our fans. This isn't for everybody. We can't. So he stops it, and he's like, he goes on a big long spiel about how it's, it's not nice to spoil other people's surprises. And then he goes, I got to rethink this. And he just walks off, right? And then the next shot is in a field, and there's a Jeep, like an old broken down VW, not Jeep, VW Bug. And there's a line of people in front of it, and you can hear the music of the album coming out of the Volkswagen. And there's like a bouncer standing in front of the Volkswagen. There's a person in the Volkswagen. They get out, they walk away. He calls the next person over, pats them down, shoves them in the car, closes the door. It's like, that's the new private Tom Waits listening party. And it was like, that is so good. Go look it up because it's exactly what I just described, so you don't need to actually watch it now. I'm just saying, we're saving you time. Those of you who are interested in Tom Waits, I'm assuming that's everybody, because I am. Look, I got to talk about something while I'm sewing. Okay, I think we're pretty good here. This looks pretty solid, so we're gonna tie this off. Save time by reading spoilers. Exactly. I just spoiled Tom Waits video from when I think it was 2011, something like that. Tom hasn't done anything new in a while. I mean, he's not a young man. It's okay. So now I got to decide what color I want the interior of the mouth. And I think this one's going to be red because the last one I did was black. And I'm actually out of red small sized tongues. I got to cut some more on the dreaded Cricut. So excuse me again while I stand up. I'm going to grab some micro suede. Hey. Now that we know it's called micro suede, not ultra suede. Some people call it ultra suede. I know when Puppet Pelts sells it, they call it ultra suede. But this is the stuff right here. This is micro suede. And this is particularly, I like this sort of dark red. There's actually, it doesn't come across too well on the camera, but there's a nice kind of motley texture in this. It's true. Tom Waits hasn't made a new album because Letterman retired. I think you're probably bang on there. Oh, I need a pattern. That's how this works. I need to get my mouth plate pattern. So for fur, I make these full width. So now I gotta find full width pattern. I should have thought I hadn't did this beforehand. Full width. There we go. And you can do it right up in there. Marker. Mark our center lines. Actually try and draw on the fabric, which would be very helpful. We gotta get the crosshairs. Yeah, the best part about the Tom Waits Letterman bits are like, they always prepare something and then Tom will completely forget. And so Dave will be there trying to like set him up to do the bit that they prepared, and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Tom is a unique creature. One of God's own prototypes. Yeah, no, we're good. Don't change the camera. Don't change the camera for a minute because we got to cut this out and then we're going to hand sew. One of the things I learned recently about Tom Waits was from watching some old concert footage or some old like live shows that he taped. A lot of his songs are like more biographical than you might think. He's got a whole album called Mule Variations. And there's a song on it called Get Behind the Mule. And it's always, you think, oh, he's just going for kind of a vibe here or something. He owns a mule. Like, he just owns a mule. And he's like, I don't think you know anybody who owns a mule. Not many people own mules anymore, but I own a mule. It's just like, he owns a mule. I mean, Tom Waits doesn't need to own a mule, but Tom Waits owns a mule. I mean, what are you even going to say? And the anecdote when he's in the concert talking about his mule, because it's introducing the song Get Behind the Mule. And it just kind of trails off. He doesn't explain why he got a mule. There's no, like, is this a working mule? Do you own a farm? Like, what? There's no, it's just, I got a mule. And that's it. Then he goes into the song. Oh, so good. All right, so this is the interior of the mouth lining. I'm just going to clip this in place, and we're going to hand sew. Yeah, no, I have no doubts that Tom Waits, at least at the time, actually owned a mule. And that's the thing. People like, Tom and Hunter Thompson and things like that. Half of it is them doing a character, but not all of it is. And it's fun to kind of figure out, are you doing a bit or is this real, or what's going on? What are you doing? As it could be either, or a mixture of both. It's frequently a mixture of both. And now I've got Get Behind the Mule stuck in my head, which has replaced Tiny Dancer. I have disparate tastes, I think it's safe to say. From Elton John to Tom Waits. The best lies are the ones with elements of truth sprinkled in. It's true. They're at least more fun. Got to get the right colored thread for this. I don't have any red thread that's dark enough for this, unfortunately, and you can kind of see it. I'm going to poke around a bit and see if I have some slightly darker red thread, which will be great for this stream. It'll just be me off camera. This song is about the time God phoned me and told me he's away on business. You know, yeah, so I picked up the phone and turns out it was God. Oh, you got to take that call. Can you tell I'm working on a character? Possibly for the Oracle. Just going to throw a couple more clips in there. I mean, you don't want to let that go to voicemail, you know what I'm saying? Okay, excuse me, I am going to be off camera here. I am still here. You can still see parts of me. I'm just checking to see if I have any slightly darker red thread. No. Oh boy, here we go. Pulling out the stops here. No, what's that? Oh, I'm doing the voice. The voice is stuck now. What we're looking for basically is some darker red thread. I'm not sure that we have any, you know. Oh, look, here's a little bit. I don't know that this is enough, but we'll give it a shot. I should really stop that. Of course, we can wrap it around the puppets. I'm sure everyone's seen the brilliant mashup, speaking of God's Way on Business, which is a Tom Waits song, of Cookie Monster. It's the same song, same recording, it's just Cookie Monster lip syncing to God's Way on Business. I'm not reading it, Jamie. I'm not doing it because I'll get stuck and I'll be doing it all day. And I have domestic tranquility to think about. And again, I have a suspicion that Margaret would be okay with that. Jamie's writing a bit as we speak. Those of you who are watching the VOD and may not be looking at the chat playback, Jamie's doing a bit. Save it. You can write an Oracle episode. We should do intros, like different intros for this podcast segments. We could do like the Tom Waits character introducing Gizmo Town. I seem to get puckering with so puckering is a fairly common situation with a lot of people. I have found. The short answer is that your in mouth lining and the size of the cavity that is going in are not the same. That's why you're getting puckering. It also depends on how you're putting it together, but golly, I should have links ready to go, because if you go back in the live stream archive, there should be a playlist for Q&A build streams. Let's see, are you on? Yes, you are on YouTube. So yeah, go to the YouTube channel. There should be a playlist for Q&A build streams. And I think in the very first Q&A build stream, I actually talk about that specific issue and about why, because Reindeer McFarlane had a question about that specifically, and they had a build wherein they were getting that. And so I kind of answer that in detail. But usually what's happening is the size of the lining that's going in is bigger or smaller than the cavity that it's going in. You have to make sure they're the same size. And if you want a lip, then you have to like, whatever you add on to the skin, you have to then subtract from the mouth lining. You just have to make sure that the cavity is the same size. That's all. And the cavity should be the same size as the mouth plate that it's going onto if you don't want a lip. And if you do want a lip, you have to make it slightly smaller, a quarter of an inch or so. I hope that's clear. But that's why you're getting puckering. Or is this what exactly is this about? Is this Gizmo Town? You actually want me to read this? I knew a guy once who made gizmos, and where I got my mule. He said he was trying to work on a mechanical mule, but couldn't quite get how the fuel transmission on that thing worked. And I don't know. I got nothing. This is where everything gets very quiet. You gotta sneak up on hand sewing, otherwise it gets skittish and flees. Big Troy, hello, nice to see you. Just in time for exciting hand sewing and silence and me doing really bad Tom Waits impressions. We got everything. What do you want? We got it. What else is there? Gotta get behind the mule. And how I gotta get behind the mule, in my head, it is just there. And if I don't have music, I will make music. We need to like find a place that has Tom Waits karaoke. I'll do that. Speaking of vaguely related things, there's an exhibit at the Art Gallery of Ontario right now for Leonard Cohen. Slightly similar genre that we really need to go to before it closes. I'm not sure when it closes. I think it may close sometime in February. So I'm rather fond of dear old Leonard. I am using a whip stitch for the mouth plates. I always use a whip stitch for mouth plates. Really, you could do everything that you need to do with a puppet with the whip stitch and a ladder stitch. That's all you really need. This is a locking whip stitch as well. This is the one where you loop it around. If you don't know what that is, there's tons of YouTube videos. But basically, like a whip stitch is where you go in, out, in, out, in, out. A locking whip stitch is where you go in, wrap the thread around, pull it tight. So you're basically doing a little knot every stitch. I like doing those because it builds tension into the thread, and that way you're not like the tension is even. That may be another thing that's happening with your mouth plate and puckering. A regular whip stitch is much more prone to puckering than a locking whip stitch because the tension is changing as you go along. So you put the needle in, pull it, put the needle in, pull it. And as you're pulling it, that tension is increasing and increasing or decreasing as you're not pulling it. So you get an uneven tension. Whereas if you do a locking whip stitch, you build in the tension every stitch. So it's more even. So you might want to give that a shot if you're not doing a locking whip stitch already. Might help. I tried, so I like the idea of Tumblr. I like its kind of we're a place for weirdos vibe. It is so unbelievably crammed full of ads. It's it's like opening a sleazy newspaper and turning immediately to the back page, right? It's just like, ugh, this is just gross. This is, I don't know. I tried Tumblr as soon as I decided to get off Twitter. I tried Tumblr for like 5 minutes, then kind of went, I cannot do this. But I like their at least, hey, if you're weird, you can come here kind of thing they got going on. It's in the school cafeteria. They're where the weird kids and the goths hang out, right? I'm down with that. 12, 12. Let's see. After this, what are we going to do? Oh, you know what? I am going to turn on my glue gun. It's high tech. I got it on a smart plug, so I could just turn it on from my watch because we may be getting to the arms at some point, and I got to glue in some doll joints there. So if we get through this before the end of the stream, which we probably will, then that's the next thing. At my school, it was all the kids who turned out to be gay and autistic. Well, that Venn diagram overlaps quite a bit. You know what I'm saying? Neurodivergence and, you know, it's just the vector of not being in the popular mainstream culture, right? I mean, here we go with the old man stuff again, but like one of the things when I was growing up and I got into the goth scene as a teenager, there was a huge overlap between like, you know, queer culture and you know the gay scene and stuff like that. And goth culture was very open and welcoming, and there was just like nobody cared. Like it was just people. A lot of the clubs in Toronto at the time, a lot of the clubs that were playing, you know, goth and electronica and stuff like that, were also gay clubs, and that's just there was a lot of overlap in those communities. So it's just it was never even a thing. It was just like, you know, we're all just weirdos, and that's good. We like being weirdos. Embrace your weirdness. Look at me, I make puppets for a living. Of course I'm embracing my weirdness. Ultimately, the culture wars are about the freaks and the norms. And you know which side I'm on. I'm having the urge for more coffee. Let me see what my coffee situation currently is. We may be taking a break so I can go get another cup of coffee. Puppets are weird, and that's good. I'm going to go get my last cup of coffee, so I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. So don't worry, we're going to hit the rarely used be right back screen, but I will be right back. The answer is most of them. You probably have most of them, Scarlett. Oh, JB, I don't know if you're still hanging around, but next time we record, we're going to have slightly more comfortable chairs. We got new dining room chairs that have actual padding on them. So they're also not going to creak. I don't know if anybody noticed on the podcast, there's the occasional chair creaking. That's my rickety dining room chairs. Oh, Indies Keep's got plans. It says good to me. I didn't notice any creaking. Okay, good. I did. Maybe you noticed the ice rattling though. That I couldn't get rid of. Yeah. So my wife Margaret was in the living room. Our living room and dining room are just sort of one big space, and she was watching probably Drag Race on her earbuds, but she did have a bag of candy. You could hear the bag of candy rattling. That's okay. It adds a nice homemade feel. We're not in the studio. We're literally in my dining room. Nice. Here's something I have been asked about in the past. Maybe you guys can give me some feedback. That, for people who are on, lower fixed incomes or whatever, would a payment plan be a thing that people might be interested in? I'm kind of hesitant to do that kind of thing because I don't want, like, if you can't afford a puppet from me, I don't want you to get behind the, like, I don't want anybody sacrificing, rent or good groceries or something just in order to buy a puppet. Like, the whole financing thing seems a bit sleazy and I don't like the idea of it, but it is something that I could work on doing. I don't know. That might be a bridge too far. We'll see. Although what you're doing, like just saving up, that seems like a much healthier way of going about it. I don't know that I want to encourage people to spend beyond their means. You know what I mean? How about gift cards? Yeah, gift cards might be a better way to go about it, and that is something I should be able to work on. I mean, Etsy for sure, but I'd rather just do gift cards from the direct shop, which I'm sure I can. I haven't even looked at it yet. It's probably a plug-in for WooCommerce that I have to pay money for, but that's okay. Maybe something, yeah. You know what? Now that you mention it again, because you also mentioned it on the podcast, maybe gift cards would be a good idea. I should think about that. This is why you're here for the business planning of the puppet building. Oh, also, those of you who aren't on the Discord or maybe don't follow some of the socials, I'm doing a blog regularly now, like every morning on OperationPuppet.com. It's a very wide and disparate range of topics. So, because we're trying to kind of get more into a self-actuated form of social media, as discussed on Pixels and Puppets, pixelsandpuppets.com, the Operation Puppet podcast. It hopefully is something that people will enjoy, and it's just a little thing every morning kind of thing. Do you make your own website, or do you have somebody help you with it? I made my own. In a previous incarnation, before I started doing puppet building for a living, I was a front-end web developer and have been since the late 90s. So that's my first skill set before puppet building was being a web developer. So that's all me, baby. Yeah, I do have one pattern currently for sale on the Etsy shop. You go to the link tree. There, all of the links are there. And there is a pattern for sale. I should do more patterns. Maybe this is the year for it. But yeah, there is a pattern for sale. Oh, you know what? That's what I should do next week. Next week, I think I'll make goblins. I was gonna do a furry life hands monster, but maybe two goblins in a week would probably not be too much. I'm trying to build quantity as well as quality for this month and probably next month too. But a live hands monster usually takes the better part of a week. Whereas goblins take a little bit longer than like a Gravely or something, just because their features are more complex and they have more stuff. But two goblins in a week is probably not out of the question. So maybe I'll do goblins next week. I like goblins. Goblins are fun. Making that goblin save they go quick. Yeah. Yeah, I got some green fleece too that I should use up. Actually, I'm a little scared to use up some of the Nyla fleece just because of puppet pelts being in such a flux. I mean, there's all Georgia Stage is where all the Nyla fleece comes from anyway, and they're still going strong, so that's not really a thing. But I'm actually trying to use up the fabric stock that I have just because I've got no room for new stock, so I need to use this stuff up, make puppets with it, and then place new orders. Just churn out 100 songs. Well, that's not 100 songs, but 4 songs is what's getting started tomorrow. After I finish this small, 4 songs. 2 for the Etsy shop, 2 for the direct shop. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of focusing on making everything in pairs, is so I can put 1 on the Etsy shop and 1 on the direct shop. Helps with learning. Yeah, yeah. And it's making patterns is actually kind of tough because you have to make it. I mean, if you see my patterns that I use for myself, they're all over the shop and they're constantly changing and evolving. But when you make them as a package for somebody to pay money and download, you have to make them very like user friendly and clear and very exacting. Whereas if I'm just making them for me, I can be messy and adapt, and I don't keep complete notes or anything, whereas making a downloadable package like that that's hopefully clear and easy to follow is a whole other beast. So there is some labor time that goes into that it's again a matter of just where am I spending the time. Yeah, live hands are fun. They're also quite time consuming just because you can't use a machine for the fingers, right? You have to hand sew those. So they always look great and they're very popular. They're also the most time consuming of anything I make. So, like I said, it's all about time. How much time do I have? I should do. I got plenty of fur, so I should do another live hands soon. I kind of want some new shapes though. I'm finding a lot of my live hands monsters are starting to look all kind of samey. I gotta rethink it a bit. Near close to the end of this thread. I hope I have enough to finish it. Don't know why I said that like Kermit. I mean, Kermit's always close, you know what I'm saying? You know what I do need? I realized as I was getting ready for this stream, I need more Hawaiian shirts. I have so few shirts now that I started buying for the size I am now. I need to go on a thrift store spree and find Hawaiian shirts that actually fit me. You're going to be seeing the same shirts a lot. Till I do. I promise they're always freshly laundered. I wonder what will happen to Fuzzell if they do close up at Puppet Pelt. So, since they're for sale, they're not closing, and what Lori has said to me is they don't know, but they are going to let us know when they do. So you may hear about it here first. Who knows? But I will pass that news along as soon as I find out. Because they do own the copyright to Fuzzell. And so I'm assuming that will be part of any deal when they sell. If they sell. I mean, in this economy, who knows if anybody wants to buy them, right? So it's still all kind of up in the air. It may just go up for sale. It may be, I can't remember the name of this company in Florida that does the F3. Jojo, you'll know because you've been working with F3, haven't you? Maybe they'll buy it. Who knows? It's all up in the air right now. I should actually, now that I'm thinking about it, as I don't know what the supplier pipeline is like for Weird Kid Store, who I use here in Canada. I should just ping them to find out what their situation is. I think they get directly from Georgia Stage and they dye everything themselves, so I don't think any of this should affect them, but we will see. But I should probably get some more fleece relatively soon. But in terms of that F3 fleece, let's say I'm F3 curious. I don't know that I'll ever replace the nylon fleece that I get from Weird Kid. I just like it so much. But I would certainly wouldn't mind checking out the F3 stuff. I know that Tom Stewart from Creature Works Studio is a fan. Tom has actually offered to send me some because he got a whole bunch. But we'll see. But yes, exciting times in the puppet building world. Who even knew that would be a thing? I certainly hope, that somebody responsible steps in and fills the Puppet Pelt's boots, because they have been a fantastic resource, even though, yes, of recent years, the costs have gone up and up and up, but that's largely inflation in general, right? But just the fact that they've been this resource that you can go to as a kind of one-stop shop. Again, if you're in the States, it's a lot easier. But like, there's things like there's some plastic safety eyes that I get from Puppet Pelts that I've never found anywhere else, and I have no idea where they come from. That I'm just gonna have to figure something else out for if Puppet Pelts does go away. Travis, hello. Excellent. Thank you very much. So, Travis, since you're on Facebook, I can see, I should let you know that in February, the Facebook side of the stream is going away. So you're going to want to tune in on YouTube or Twitch if that is something that is available to you. Just because the payment plan that I'm on for Restream that does allow us to stream to the Facebook page as opposed to my personal account is expiring, and I'm not really... I don't want to pay like $190, which is what it will cost to renew it, just to stream to the Facebook page. So get you on another platform if you can, because the streams are continuing. It's just not going to be going out to Facebook directly. There'll be a link to the VOD and everything. But I tried to just use found material build on my last puppet. Found the softest fleece in a light baby blue. Worse stuff to work with once you got into it, though. Yeah, that's one of the things. I, as an experiment, just late last year during the break, I made, and you've probably seen the Greebly that I made that was kind of a brownish, beigeish brown. That was using polar fleece. And I kind of went like, how good can I make polar fleece look? And this is just the bulk stuff that you get in a big box shop. So I hand sewed absolutely everything and seam blended it and the whole 9 yards. It'll look great. It also took hours and hours and hours, right? Because the hands, like literally every finger, every little seam was just like meticulously sewn. So you can, take materials like that and make good looking puppets. It's just, for my purposes, it doesn't work just because it takes more time. But you can do it. And it's like I talked about on my old making a puppet with accessible materials stream, gosh, over a year ago. The only reasons that puppet builders use these specific materials is because they have certain properties, but you can find similar properties in other fabrics that are easier to get, are less expensive. But you do have to do a little bit of digging and a little bit of experimenting. But there is nothing impossible. Coffee time. Taking the puppet away from the coffee zone in case I spill it. Scarlett thinks that the accessible materials puppet was a good puppet largely because they bought it. They now own the Goth Greebly that was birthed from that stream. And I must say, it is one of my favorite builds ever. The kind of David Bowie hair, Ziggy Stardusty hair that came out of that was just the best. I've got a knot in my thread that I don't want. And it's still there, so I hope it's not going to interfere. I guess we'll find out. I'm still big Travis bet making puppets and not puppies. Because if you're making puppies, I ain't casting aspersions, but you may not want to admit that on the internet. Oh yeah, Jojo, the like particularly on that style of like the big floppy. Yeah, that's painstaking. It's literally like every feather you got to lay in by hand. I mean, there are ways to kind of speed things up. If you can get, the stuff that's on a ribbon, sometimes you can lay those in layers, but yeah. I'm not even sure how Wembley's hair is done because there's just so much of it. Uh, can't imagine building an animal replica. Animal, I actually think might be a bit easier, just because animals actually got a lot of foam, and the feathers are kind of grouped together and then punched into the foam, right? Whereas Wembley's got this big floppy mop. So I'm not sure. I mean, again, I haven't built one, so I couldn't speak to that. But just going on speculation, I actually think animal might be more time consuming, but I think the actual technique for making animal might be actually be a bit easier. There's more foam in animal than people generally realize. But then again, Jojo, I'm sure you know that. I wish it were possible to source ethically farmed ostrich feathers. That's another thing. All of the ostrich feathers stuff that you'll see coming out of this shop in the next little while is going to be the last of it. I'm not purchasing any more ostrich feathers. I'm just using up the stock that I have, just because you cannot guarantee it comes from a cruelty-free farm, and I'm not okay with that. So it is an ethical choice of mine. I wish it didn't have to be because I love working with ostrich feathers, but if ostriches were farmed primarily for meat, that would be different. I'd be okay with it. But ostriches are actually farmed mostly for the fashion industry. And a lot of the times the meat actually goes to waste. So that's not great. Like, that's, at least if it was going to feed people, that would be different, but it's not. And there are ethical farms that make sure that the meat gets used, etc. But you can't, like, sourcing those is like, you can't pick, right? You just have to buy them and hope. So. But that's just me, I'm not judging anybody else. I'm just saying that that's a choice I've made. So, like, the two Ghiblis I made last week, they both got ostrich feathers. So when they go up for sale, you're going to be some of the last that have the big floppy ostrich feathers. I haven't found a source for fake ostrich feathers yet. I know Puppet Pelts, speaking of Puppet Pelts, had something that they were offering as a fake feather alternative, because they as well didn't sit well with them about the ostrich farm industry the way it is. But they didn't look good. They were like, and also the amount you would need to make them behave like ostrich feathers would be cost prohibitive. They were not cheap. So there are fake feathers. They're just not very good, and they're certainly not inexpensive enough to warrant using in the amounts that we would need. Hello, Travis. Thank you for switching platforms on our behalf. I wish it weren't a choice I had to make, but it's one of those, like, this is not, we get one or two people on YouTube, and I would keep broadcasting YouTube if it weren't for, like, the $190 plan that I would have to do that, or if it were our only platform, but it's not. So unfortunately, it's the only option I've got. I mean, there's probably another way, and I'll see if I can figure out another way to, like, multi-stream to the YouTube page, but in the meantime, this would be a safer bet if you want to catch the streams regularly. Oh, yes, I mean Facebook. Did I not say Facebook? Explains why Big Bird gets a pass as his feathers come from turkeys. Yeah, yes, absolutely. I mean, at least, those turkeys aren't rotting. You know what I mean? I mean, honestly, the entire farm industry in terms of animal cruelty is terrible, and I'm not opposed to eating meat. It doesn't. You don't want to see how that sausage is made. You know what I mean? But at the very least, like my ethical cutoff is, like if you're farming an animal and the meat is not going to feed hungry people, and I mean it's terrible that it's not. A lot of the ostrich farms are in North Africa, and like you're in Africa, feed people. People need the food. They're sitting in right here. Yes, it costs money to transport. You know what also costs money? Raising an ostrich and then selling only the feathers and not the meat. Like, yeah, it is. It's terrible. It's not good. There's nothing good about it. So, I wonder what ostrich tastes like. Can't imagine it's that different from any other game fowl. Almost done. What's our time like? Wow, we're almost about 15 minutes to go. I think maybe we'll call it once I get past this. Well, everything tastes like chicken if you're hungry enough, right? But yeah, what I've been doing is experimenting with just ways of layering and sort of bunching up fur to give it some similar properties to how feathers move. You'll never get to the unbelievably nice secondary movement of feathers, but you can at least get some of the floppiness. If you like make pom poms and stuff out of fur. Tastes like the unicorn, yeah. Almost done. Looks like we had enough thread to get through this. Note to self, get some more dark red thread. I'm sure I'll remember and not forget. I'm good at that. Now that being said, I've got some feather boas, and one of those is like hot pink. I really should think of something to do with that, other than become a drag queen, because you don't want to see that. Squid tastes like chicken. Squid is one of the few. I'm not a big seafood fan, but I have been known to enjoy a squid. Yes, I do want to see that. Karen, no, you don't. Hello, Karen. Nice to see you. Almost done. Couple more stitches and we good. You guys think I'm joking, but like I said, I was a goth kid in the 80s. Androgyny was a thing. I could put on full makeup. Like I could do it. I know how to do it. I used to never leave the house without eyeliner. Things are a bit different now, but back in the day, let me tell you. It was gender fluid before it was cool. All right, here we go. Operation Bumblebee Drag Race. I am available. What can I say? Here we go. We did it. Got enough thread to get the whole mouth sewn. And we're good. This is how much I have left, which is not much. Eyeliner and egg whites. Sorry, yeah. I didn't ever do the egg whites. I had a big floppy head of Robert Smith hair. Believe it or not, that's how long ago this we're talking. And I did unholy things with hairspray, but never did the egg whites. Oh boy. Well, it's a little early, but it's not enough time to start anything new. So I'm just gonna drink some coffee, hang out with you all, and then we're gonna close up the stream for the day. Unfortunately, the delivery didn't come. So by next stream, it will have been here, and we'll have something fun to announce for next stream. So next Wednesday. I really need to make some lower thirds because this is probably a good place to pitch the podcast again, because I haven't mentioned that enough. Pixelsandpuppets.com. Of course, all of the links are in the link tree. Please go and listen, because if we can get 100 downloads before we record episode 2, which is in 2 weeks or so, just over 2 weeks, I have promised myself that, thank you, Scarlett, join the Discord, as always. I promised myself I'm getting a new mic. I really want an RE20. But I'm only going to get it if there's a decent listener base for the podcast. So I've set that metric at, if we can get 100 downloads, and that's between episode 0 and 1, so it could be both, it could be either. So, one person will count for 2 if you download both of them. I'm tired of talking to myself. It's funny, the Discord busyness thing. I mean, our Discord is fairly typical of a smaller Discord in that there's sort of periods of activity and then periods of quietness. But as I talked about on the podcast, plugging away, even big Discords can be like that. Like the No Such Thing as a Fish Discord, there'll be like whole days of like nobody posts anything in like the the common channel. Sometimes the occasional niche channel will get a post, but it's like we're almost as busy as the No Such Thing as a Fish Discord, and the No Such Thing as a Fish Discord literally has thousands of users. Actually, I can look at it right now. So right now on the on the No Such Thing as a Fish Discord, there's 123 active users currently online. And there's 818 offline. It's quiet when I was asleep. It's true. Scarlett's a common poster. But like our Discord is almost as busy as that, and like we have a tiny fraction. We have like 20 or 30 users. So we're doing okay. We're doing yeah, I would like it to be more active. But it is what it is. It's going to find its own flow. But yes, the more people who join, the more active it will be. So by all means, it's a friendly, nice, chill place to hang out and talk about stuff. We have a wide variety of topics. It's not all puppets, just like the podcast. It's not all puppets. There's lots of tech. There's lots of gaming stuff. So yeah. I'm on a Discord of 1,000 people, and it's quiet till about 5 p.m. and then till about 2 p.m. Yeah, it comes and goes in ways, right? And it all depends on and also, not everybody's online all the time. I'm online almost all the time, but there are times when if you ever send me a message or something on Discord and I don't reply right away, I will see it. But chances are, Scarlett and I chat on occasion, and Scarlett knows I usually answer pretty quick. But if I don't answer that quickly, it's not that I haven't seen it, it's just that I haven't had time to get around to answering it yet. So I am terminally online. That's unlikely to change at any time in the future. So join the Discord, listen to the podcast. those are the two things I can ask of you right now. Spread the word. That's the big thing, right? Particularly since leaving YouTube and understanding the value of people-driven social media on Mastodon and ActivityPub and those kind of decentralized social media streams. And Discord, that's a good question actually, because not everybody knows what a Discord is. So Discord is, yes, it's a chat platform. It's kind of like the news groups of old. It is a social media platform in that everybody can, you can run your own server and then people can join that server, and there are chat channels of various topics of whatever the person who runs the Discord is. So it's just like a community hub where you can leave messages and chat with people. And it does have voice and video as well. We don't use that very often. I mean, we do for when we do the streams. That's how like me and Jamie and the guys chat during the streams. ICQ on steroids is a good way of describing it. If you don't know what ICQ is, it's another chat platform. But it is basically like a social hub for specific things. So in this case, it's the Operation Puppet Discord. And it is a client that you download. It's all free. So if you want and you want to like chat with people and hang out, and I'm there frequently, it's a good place to go. And it's also just like a nice chill kind of, you want to chat with people, but you don't want to necessarily engage in really awful social media. This is a pretty good alternative. So I hope that answers the question. It started out as like a real gaming focused platform where like gamers would have their own Discord servers. But it is really expanded. It is just its own platform now. It's its own thing. And then, I mean, the reason that we got into it so early is because we're all gamers. So it's been there for years now as a kind of like everyone's got a Discord. So there is an Operation Puppet Discord. You can find it in the link tree. And that's that. So I'm going to go because I'm used to having lunch at 12:30 on stream days. My lunch is always late. So I'm going to go and have some lunch. So I hope you all have a great day. Do all of the linky things, spread the word, listen to the podcast, all of those good things. Thank you, everybody, as always, for hanging out and building the puppets. I'm going to go get some lunch. Okay, have a good day. I don't think we're doing anything this weekend streaming-wise, but, yep, this build stream will be back next Wednesday. Join the Discord, find out all the stuff. And I hope you all have a great day, a great weekend, and hopefully we will see you next week.